Okay, we're going to continue on with chapter 10, metrics and forecasting. And now we've talked about the forecasting part of this. Now we're going to talk about metrics. And metrics are about tracking how we're doing. So they're often quite difficult to put together in marketing because a lot of the marketing goals and objectives may be hard to measure. If we're talking about increasing market share or awareness or brand awareness, say, or placement or channels or whatever, a lot of these things are hard to measure. So coming up with metrics that work is quite difficult. But metrics are really important in order to put together a plan and implement the plan successfully, and also modify the plan as you go along to deal with things that aren't working the way you expected them to work. So metrics. We want to be able to do things that we can measure, things that will make a difference in putting up the plan. We want to set expectations that can be met and measured. And we want to know about internal accountability. So those are internal metrics that we need in order to manage our people. And I have a favorite saying that a lot of people think sounds like I'm talking about dogs, but people respond to these same things, and it's really important to remember that when you're putting together metrics. So here's this is the Shaughnessy saying, I guess. Positive results that get rewarded will be repeated. So what does that mean? If we do a good job and we're rewarded for that good job, we'll do it again or continue to do it. And rewarding doesn't necessarily mean pay, though it may, or promotion, though it might. It just means noticing that somebody's doing a good job, that they're meeting their goals, that they're doing what they expected to do. Or maybe they're exceeding their goals and doing better than they were expected. Either way, recognizing that is really, really important. And huge numbers of organizations don't. They don't recognize performance. They don't celebrate accomplishment. That's a problem. And from just a pure motivational standpoint, a pat on the back and a wow, great job goes a huge distance in improving performance and making people feel good about what they're doing. Why did I just bust my whatever to get this done if nobody even noticed? And will I bust my whatever the next time? Maybe. Will I bust it my whatever the third time? Why bother? Nobody noticed anyway. Why am I putting in? Why am I working weekends? Why am I doing whatever it is that I do to get something done? Yeah, it's for the personal satisfaction, but having somebody notice and thank you and congratulate you on a job well done is really, really important. And many organizations, and we probably all have worked for organizations that don't notice, and over time it's debilitating. It means that people just do what they have to do and don't perform above and beyond. Second thing, negative results that are penalized will stop. Once again, this is sort of the dog analogy. If we reward the dog with treats, they'll do something again, and if we penalize them by putting them in their cage or whatever when they've done something bad, they probably won't do the bad thing again, or maybe with dogs it may take more than once to make that happen. So negative results that are penalized will stop. So we need to recognize that when people do a good job, we have to congratulate them, but when they do a bad job, we have to tell them so. We can't just let it slide under the rug. Otherwise, they'll just do it again. So, and this is true for marketing, this is true for management, this is really a management thing. And finally, if we can measure it, we can manage it. If we can't measure results, we can't manage results. So measurement is really, really important to any management structure, whether it's a marketing plan or a a production line, or whatever it might be, a school, and all of those things. So we need to be able to measure, and that's where the metrics come in. So what kind of metrics do we need for our marketing plan? How do we get to those metrics? Well, what are we trying to achieve? What are our goals and objectives? What are we trying to figure out how customers buy? What are our objectives? They might be financial objectives, social objectives, and/or marketing objectives. And I have a few examples here. These come from your textbook of some marketing metrics. So maybe we just are trying to acquire new customers. So we can measure the percentage of new customers acquired each month, quarter, or year. If that's the objective of a marketing plan, then that's what we want to measure. If the objective is to keep our current customers, so we might measure how many customers we lose or how many continuing customers we keep. That's a very important objective in many marketing plans. We've got a good market share, we've got a good product, we've got a good market. We want to keep our customers. It's expensive to get new customers, it's cheaper to keep the old ones, the existing ones. Market share increases, very easy thing to look at. So I've got 10% of the market and I want to get to 12%. Also a good marketing metric and something that's measurable. So all of these things can be measured. We have to figure out how to measure them, how to get the data to measure them, but they're all useful measurement tools. Or maybe I just want to make my R&D go faster. So maybe now my R&D is on a 2-year cycle and I want to take it to an 18-month cycle or a 1-year cycle. That's something that Elon Musk at Tesla has done to the making of automobiles. His R&D process is dramatically faster than any of the other auto companies in the world. So he's pushing that R&D thing. Can I go from concept to product faster? For most automakers, that concept to product is 3 to 4 years, and he's shortened it to 2 years and maybe even shorter than that. So that's a competitive advantage if you can do that, and that may be the objective for Tesla, marketing objective for Tesla. Financial metrics, these are usually easier to gather and measure because financial numbers are available. So we can look at increased sales, revenue. So we can look at sales measures, and those are usually quite available. Profitability measures are also quite available. If we know where our break-even point is, getting to break-even, very, very easy to measure. And usually most marketing plans will have some financial metrics as well as marketing metrics. And then we also may have some social metrics, societal metrics. So that would be things like reducing our carbon footprint, making things more environmentally friendly. We can measure that, and that's certainly a lot of companies do that. So measuring that and then communicating that becomes a marketing piece as well. Even though we're doing good, we can tell people we're doing good. And awareness of a social issue, maybe the objective. So I know when the NFL does their breast cancer awareness, that's a marketing plan, and they should measure how successful they are, and then modify their way of approaching it to make it more successful, or change it to make it to deal with things that aren't working. And then finally, the last one was conserving fuel or electricity, or using recycled fuels and so forth. We can measure that. So those are all measurable social metrics. So when we're doing this, we want to have the objectives, we want to figure out the metrics, we want to decide how often we're going to measure those metrics, measure them, and then take corrective action. So there's your cycle. It's a circle. It goes around. We're going to start with setting an objective, then we figure out how to measure it, we figure out how often we're going to measure it, we measure it, and then if necessary, we change. We correct what's wrong, what's not working, and we may modify standards and objectives on a regular basis as well. Finally, you guys are all logistics students, and logistics students are all about contingency plans. So for marketing, you have to have contingency plans too. What happens if X happens? How do I deal with it? What happens if the internet goes down? What happens if I'm hacked? What happens if, who knows? How do I deal with that in order to deal with this disruption and make it as least harmful as possible? What happens if I've got my whole marketing plan put together and there's a tsunami in Japan where I'm manufacturing my product and I've marketed the hell out of it and it's supposed to be on a boat headed this way and hit the market next week and it's not coming this way for anytime soon? What do I do? How do I deal with that? That's a contingency plan. So important to have backup or contingency plans for your marketing plan in order to deal with the unexpected. You can't deal with everything. You can't always have a plan for everything, but you certainly should have a plan for likely events or somewhat likely events in order to deal with that. What if I have an outdoor concert planned and it rains? I just marketed the heck out of it. I've got 10,000 people coming and it's pouring with rain. How do I deal with it? That sort of wraps up our chapter 10. And next